Alright guys, I've got something a little bit different for you today. Now I'm sure the majority of people in the NHL community know who JoshFearless is, and if you don't know who he is, let me remind you real quick.
Piece of it's dominated on breakaway. He has done nothing in these games besides charge in the corner.
He's one of the best players and one of the most entertaining. And if you haven't watched his streams, I mean, you gotta go check them out. That being said, a few days ago, we got something quite interesting. Someone made a EA Ben Ross account on Twitch. And while obviously it was fake and not the real Ben Ross, gameplay developer for EA Sports NHL, Josh decided to have a conversation with him.
Come on, Ben! Ben, come on, man. We're not trolling.
And get a little upset after a few losses and bad plays and whatnot that he deemed to be EA's fault. Now, what happens if we got the real Ben Ross to break down JoshFearless's gameplay? Well, we got that. So, guys, we are going to find out how Josh can go from this...
I know, uninstall, man. You're playing good, man. It's 2-1, man. You're not playing bad at all.
...to this.
He's actually horrible, but good game now. More shots, more 2A, more hits, better passing percentage, more face-off wins. You're a dog.
And have Ben Ross explain why it's really his own fault. Let's jump into it. So now before I show you the second by second breakdown of one of Josh's games that Ben went through in detail and explained from a developmental and gameplay standpoint as to what he should have done differently and things like that, he did write a detailed response to, everything in the community and things like that and what he actually wants for this video, because it's not just for me to, joke about how Josh plays and things like that. He actually wants to use this, and as do I, to show you guys that from a developmental standpoint, there are things that you guys might not see from a gameplay side of things, the guys that actually create the game, when you're just angry about losing. And obviously it's not perfect 100% not what I'm saying, and that's not what he's saying either. So I'm going to read verbatim a message from him before we start this video, and kind of his thoughts for it. So this is verbatim from Ben Ross. When I heard that there was someone posing as a fake version of me in Josh's stream the other night, I had to go back and watch for myself and had a good laugh. I do watch a lot of streams, but wasn't there for that one, unfortunately. When given the opportunity for the real me to actually break some things down, I thought it was a good idea. So first off, I want to say that there are a ton of things we want to improve with the game, and there is a lot of validity in pieces that the community brings up. However, some of the bias and hyperbole goes a bit far, and there is a lot more that goes into how we do things than some people realize at times. What they may just see as random or inconsistent actually does have more depth and reason to it, so hopefully some of this will help with that perspective. I really enjoy watching the streams and getting candid feedback from players and those in chat. So more than anything, if there is only one thing that the community gets from this, I want it to be that they should keep giving feedback, as we are definitely listening and looking into improving the experience. So now let's get into some of the top themes that he sees when watching streamers and other things like that in terms of video and feedback and whatnot. So here are the top themes that he does see when watching, watching some of our content. Number one, missing chances to stay on the forehand in the slot and often protecting to backhand instead, which is taking away prime chances in hopes of something better. The better your opponent, the less you get that next chance. So this is going to pertain to people holding the forehand deke or backhand deke to protect the puck when you could really get a pass through for a chance, but it isn't deemed automatic, and they just curl off into the corner to try and wait for that perfect one-timer. You see this all the time, specifically with a lot of top players, and avoiding the D-to-D one-timer before now, obviously, when it's the meta. They will hold off and wait for that perfect pass, and then they will lose the puck because they've held on to it for too long, and then everyone freaks out because they've lost their chance, which I get and totally agree with. There are a lot of opportunities when people just hold on to the puck too long looking for the one-timer. 2. One-timers that get stopped often do have a reason. A. Goalie makes a good save or doesn't need to move, i.e. right into the glove. I'm going to show you this in a clip of Josh a little bit later on. If you fire a one-timer and the goaltender's glove is right there, that happens in real life. B. Passer wasn't a threat to score, i.e. on the backhand, so goalie could focus on reading the pass. Again, this is something that the developer is going to really expand upon, because the goalie isn't just a mindless drone. He actually has, feedback and things that he takes into, threat analysis, I guess. This is going to sound super advanced, but regardless, the goaltender is programmed to, analyze threats. So if he doesn't deem that the, person with the puck, a weak backhand, isn't going to be shot, you can read that the pass comes off, and there you go. That's why he gets across to make those saves. C. Passer moves towards the middle, allowing the goalie to get moving the way the pass is going to be made. D, goalie preemptively gets over and puck just hits them. Consider going back against the grain or returning the give and go if you can't get it up and over the goalie with your shot. A lot of the top players will do that secondary pass. Nuke specifically. Saphir is also another really good player that does the extra pass. Kesso as well, that comes to mind. Number 3, running yourself out of options. Circling down into the corners and allowing defense to contain. This is what his chat is speaking to when they say take more shots and don't figure skate. It isn't about the amount of shots he takes or not having enough time of possession. It is how he drives the play and forces his opponents to make mistakes first trying to keep possession, which may give them time to recover. People complain of skill zone, but offense has to drive the urgency. If the puck carrier isn't a threat, why should the defense chase? I do agree with this, the running out of options and circling in the corner, especially with among the top players in the world. They are the best at holding on to the puck and waiting for that perfect one-timer, other than, probably Regs, who just has the vision of a, lord. I don't know how he sees them, but a lot of the times those holding on, waiting for that perfect one-timer just doesn't come to fruition, and you just circle around until you're out of possession, and then, obviously you lose your mind. 4, got to give more credit to opponents. Too many top players spend their time talking about how others aren't deserving. Let other people do that talking, which brings to number 5, streaming and an audience causing more grief. Don't feel you need to explain to your viewers what is happening. Allow your play to speak for itself. If you were robbed or a weak goal was scored against you, let your viewers tell you before you tell them, and don't jump on that negativity bandwagon. But the first to tell them, yeah, that sucked, but I will get it back and bury the next one. Stay positive. Getting mad at the game or your opponents gives short-term satisfaction as it passes blame, but it ultimately leads to bias for the rest of the game that causes more anger. When people say stay level-headed, the better player wins way more often. So I will agree and disagree with this one. I think that as a streamer, you want to be interacting with your chat about what's going on. Obviously, saying the game is and that you don't deserve that probably isn't the best way to go about it, but I do agree that you should be explaining to your viewers your thoughts on what happened. I also agree with staying positive. I've seen so many games being played at the highest level in this video game that once they get a goal scored against them and they just complain about it the entire time, they end up losing. They don't stay focused. You'll see it less and less in the GWC because I think that the top players dial in and forget about that. But when they're playing a normal Rivals game, usually they'll just blow up and there's not really much on the line, so they don't stay focused. So I do agree with that, stay positive, but it is very difficult when you do feel robbed. So I think that's more of a person problem than a game problem, but I can see what he's saying here. So guys, that is going to do it for what, the overall themes of what he sees overall. And again, I think that he makes quite a few good points. The last thing I want to say is this one's about me, because I know in the comment section I'm going to get the, you just suck up the EA and this is all, EA's trash, or, those stupid comments where that really have no context. If you just complain about the game and don't really give any feedback as to what should change, you're just complaining to complain. It does no good. In my YouTube comments, I'll get tons about how this game sucks and I'm never buying it again. Okay, cool. I understand you're upset. Tell me why that you think it sucks. That's the only way we're going to get feedback. The next thing, game changers. We do not have the ability to completely change everything about the game. No, we do not. But what we do have is the ability to speak directly to the developers. This video would not happen if I was not able to speak to the developers. So, I need to get this across. We do give your feedback. We get into arguments. We are not just, shills for EA that suck up to them. You guys can't see the chat, and for good reason. But trust me that we are all in a collective group to try and make the game better. Okay, developers, game changers, everyone across the board. So, the only way it's going to happen is with your feedback. So, lots of things have changed from your Twitter clips, your chat, your comments in YouTube videos, your messages in streams to all of the guys that are in the Game Changer program. So keep doing that. Honestly, just because you don't get instant gratification feedback to it, things still get done. So let's get into the actual breakdown of JoshFearless's game. There's 2. We're going to do 1 today. And Ben Ross breaking it down from a gameplay developer perspective. All right, here's our first bit of feedback. Gives up a great chance where he could have taken a settled shot from the slot with a potential screen depending on where the shot is aimed. And he gives it up, hopefully, to increase his chance further with a one-timer. But for that to happen, he needs way more to work out, and he ultimately runs himself out of an opportunity and is now stuck with the puck carrier on their backhand.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, from behind the net, boys. You can't make that up, Chad. And that's why, in a hut you shoot everything possible in your life, because it's the worst decision of my whole.
Definitely a weak goal, but chaos that doesn't allow the goalie to be settled / prepared will lead to those now and again. Definitely not a strategy you can rely on, though. On this rush, he pivots and protects to the boards to keep the puck after zone entry, and right away, there was a return pass to 13 that would have made it through, and even afterwards, if instead of pivoting to the boards, he pivoted open to face mid-ice, there is a forehand pass or saucer pass to that player that has a wide open lane to the net due to the overcommit of the puck carrier. Instead, he ends up on the corner with no options, and it was only an overcommit again by the defense that allowed him a chance to circle out towards the slot. This is where people on defense drop back to the middle and players complain of skill zone, but the puck carrier shouldn't be seen as a threat with their backhand to the net in the corner, and there is no need to chase them. Players who play defense that way frustrate players because they want to be chased, but they need to drive the defensive urgency by being a threat first. Why not keep driving the slot here? He circles away only to then look for a shot further out when the defense is back in better position and ultimately blocks it. It may not have resulted in a goal, but it would have caused more urgency and chaos for the defense. Top players wait for the perfect chance, and it can certainly pay off, but it can also run them out of options because a defense that doesn't overly chase can recover. Good toe drag by his opponent on the aggressive defensive play. Staying as the back checker rather than taking the goal side player is dangerous, though. The AI lone defender overly plays the threat of the puck carrier, and a human player could have played the 2-on-1 better. By the time he switches, the defender is in no man's land a bit. If this pass was made, it could have easily been a goal against.
Good pin. Good pin again.
He recovers the puck after containing pretty well on defense, but by trying to rush the breakout despite players not being set up well is what causes issues and leads to being trapped in the zone. Could have made the pass to the opposite defender right away to get the puck to a safer location. Then, sort of a side note here, Josh is one of the players that still has tips on for some reason, and it literally says to go to that defender. Moments after, there is a safe bank pass up the boards. He seems like he's just missed it, though, because he was interacting with chat, and he knows that. He's lucky he didn't give up another one-timer moments later. He recovers and gets the puck back. He misses the pass to the forward up the middle and then screens his own goalie on the McInnes slapper. He recognizes this one as a bad pass and a bad...
That's a bad play. That's a bad pass. I wasn't paying attention.
Here is another rush where it would be smart to drive with speed towards the corner and get the opposition to commit with you unless you were going to pivot to open up your forehand to the middle of the ice to pass behind them to the trailer. By protecting to the boards, there are no options on the rush itself, and the defense doesn't have to worry about a threat until the setup. Here, a pivot to back skate and a forehand pass to 25 is the way to go. The defense ends up overcommitting on his setup a few times, getting players out of position and giving time for his players to get open, and he scores on a good one-timer that was also helped by a screen, but with better defense, that play may have been over well before even getting the chance. This is a great play to draw them deep and allow the trailing defender to step up into the high slot for a shot. The shot was trying to use the screen, but it should have shot low blocker instead, as there wasn't really time for Yager to react and get out of the way of the shot right at him.
Nice block, Yager. Keep that up, man.
This is where players on their off wings aren't really dangerous on their own, as anytime they aren't cutting to the middle, they aren't on their forehand. Then a pass goes back to a defender that is on their proper side, and they are also stuck going across the middle with their backhand to the net. Not much the defense has to worry about when you aren't a threat to score as the puck carrier and are getting driven wide with your own backhand to the net. This is another rush where he is forced to his backhand on zone entry. However, this time he is able to hit the trailing player on their forehand with a lane to the slot. But why instantly protect on the backhand? If he takes this to a settled forehand shot in the slot with the screen of the collapsed defender, it is a high percentage chance to score. Instead, he ends up jamming his other player with a pass, who then turns to their backhand and takes away their threat with the puck as well. This ultimately results in running out of options, giving up the puck out near the blue line without support, and a good breakaway chance that he has to come up with a big manual save on. Good play to hit the trailer despite being forced again to turn to his backhand with the original puck carrier. This is just shot error when it hits the post and could have been a goal. You get a bit more shooting error when shooting back against your momentum, but this is inches of error when you hit the post when aiming top corner. This is a good D-to-D chance that has a player in front to deflect and screen, but the fadeaway shot from the defender isn't going to be quite as good. Many are saying to use D-to-D, but quite often they lead to outcomes like this. If he receives the D-to-D pass when there isn't tight pressure at the point, he can actually step up and rip a hard slap shot from the high slot through the same screen with more time to see where the opening is through bodies and where the net is open. And the settled shot will be harder and more accurate as well. He recognizes this after, but he gets caught up with Chat challenging to score and rushes himself. This leads to a missed pass into his own end. Then moments later, the better play is to turn towards the lower left corner and keep the puck safer until he has breakout options and use the boards with the saucer pass, but he forces the pass through the middle, which leads to the turnover and a goal.
I can't, bro. I can't take your challenges, bro. Because I start spazzing and I want to get the puck up the ice, man.
Here's a good zone entry after the reversal into the neutral zone. However, once again, the pass goes to a player in the high slot that has a good gap to the defender and has a chance to take a forehand shot with the screen. But regardless if he takes that shot or not, he doesn't even threaten it and immediately protects to the backhand, which allows the defense to then only worry about an upcoming pass, but they have time to look at all options while the current puck carrier isn't a threat. If the defender doesn't overcommit to that puck carrier into the corner, he may run out of options even sooner, but still ultimately runs out of options and gives up the puck behind the net. Good breakout pass using a saucer to the wall. His defense to pressure that pass reception is good, but he needs to make sure he keeps his body goal side, as stick on stick for both of them is a 50-50 puck, and it would be better to be goal side than risk the odd man rush going for the steal, which isn't guaranteed. Due to this, he ends up defending a 3-on-1, and his opponent hits the trailer right away, who is a threat to score, settled on their forehand, which means the goalie has to challenge and has to be thinking shot. So when the pass goes back to the wheelhouse one-timer, the goalie isn't going to be able to get over as quick, and it was a good goal.
Can't. I can't, bro. Come on, bro. How's it? I gotta focus.
This is another zone entry where he is thinking about puck protection and using the protected pivot, but this isn't a great habit anymore because of the speed lost when pivoting and the player being at lower balance in pivots. He may be protecting the puck on his backhand and not pivoting when he actually gets hit, but the relative speed of the collision and the direct contact is enough to push the player off the puck in this case.
How is he getting that bump, bro?
This is a good thing in terms of game balance as it rewards active defense and not circling in the corners. We know that if the player with the puck is more elusive and keeps relative speed down and the hit is less direct, that it is possible to roll off checks, but it comes down to the size and attributes of the player involved as well. This is followed up with another great bank pass up the boards for a quick breakout after the turnover by his opponent. This is actually an example of the opposite of the last one, where the defense overcommits and requests a hit before the offense changes their skating direction and thus misses the hit. You want to ensure you request a hit when your opponent's future position is consistent and you have the angle to hit them at that future position. If they are curling away, the hit assistant and hit logic isn't going to change that angle unless you wait to throw the hit once you have changed that commit angle and after that change of direction from your opponent. The puck carrier heads out towards the slot on their forehand, settled to shoot as a threat to score, so the goalie has to stay aware of that shot, and they have patience to wait for their teammate to pop open for the one-timer that the goalie isn't going to be able to get over in time for.
How the can't you make that save?
His opponent picks up this loose puck and is going to take it behind the net for more time for his team to get set up on the breakout and to stay protected from the defensive player until he sees them stop and then comes out the same side. That change of thinking, possession first, even if it gives up a quick rush, allows for more control and better setup on the breakout with more options. It still got a bit dangerous though when he came out short side, so continuing behind the net would have been the better play here.
It's a hot shot, bro.
He calls this a hut shot because he doesn't see it as high percentage, but it was still a forehand shot that potentially creates something which in a lot of cases opens up options not only on that play, but it would be in his opponent's mind in the future, whereas turning to protect to the side wall looking for that perfect one-timer, the defense can sit back more and not feel they need to pressure the puck as early and as often. This zone entry is different and is more effective. He sees space and drives the middle to start out as a threat with the puck carrier with more options. The defense has to commit more to that puck carrier as a threat, which is what allows the eventual goal scorer to get separation backdoor. After the pass, he settles it on the forehand, which the goalie then has to consider the shot, making them later to get over, and the shot is up and over the pad, which is the only part of the goalie that got over to cover any net in time.
Bang, bang, baby.
The pass cross ice so early by his opponent actually killed his chance at a good 2-on-1. He should have kept speed with his initial puck carrier first. After that pass, Josh does a good job containing the new puck carrier on zone entry, and his teammate catches up on the back check due to the other offensive player having to stay onside. He makes 2 good defensive plays with the hit and sweep to knock the puck away, but rather than ensuring puck first, he misses it by hoping to get more reach on a turning pickup than his player is capable of. When the puck is collected and then protected by his opponent nicely and goes back to the point, he should have stayed with the defender he overcommitted with at the blue line, as the only real threats are the D-to-D one-timer and or that puck carrier skating laterally into the slot, and he could have blocked both of those with the same player he already was. His opponent makes the pass D-to-D, but instead of hitting the one-timer, he settles the puck and steps in a bit to hit a harder slap shot with McInnes.
Yo, like, it's just hit, bro. That is so bad, dude.
And also gets a screen, which may have helped, but it was also a good hard shot from one of the better slap shots in the game. These shots are obviously that much more dangerous the higher the attributes of the shooter. So when Hutt, with great player items with inflated shot attributes, an open slap shot that they can step into is an even higher scoring chance. The reason his slap shot is less accurate when he walks in is because he is turning a bit around the puck before, and as he winds up, making it a bit more awkward of a shot than if he had been able to turn more to his left and settle before winding up. In this case, as he drives in, he isn't too big of a threat to shoot and score himself at the angle he is at, and still skating hard, not settled to shoot. Then he cuts into his backhand, so the goalie is again thinking more pass, and he also gets the goalie moving to the direction the pass will go. When the pass happens, the goalie just slides across preemptively to take away as much net as they can, and the shooter still has to settle the puck before shooting, and he just hits the goalie with the puck. It isn't a reactive save. The goalie was just able to get over and block the lower half of the net where the shot went. When people get robbed on these types of plays, it is sometimes a good goalie, but quite often it is the pieces that lead up to the pass and what may or may not delay the goalie's reaction to get over. And if they can get hit with the puck versus having to make a tougher reaction save when the puck is shot to the perimeter of the net. With enough reaction time, pass distance and velocity, and high-rated players, some of these passes are still going to be intercepted, and overall, it doesn't usually feel in-game like this pass deserves to go through. Pretty dangerous turn in towards the opponent after the turnover, though, and should have kept the puck more to the outside. Good recognition of pass lanes after that, though, to get up the ice. Cutting in here again to have his backhand to the net closes off a lot of options without a closer trailing player for a drop pass option in zone. The puck loss here is deserved, running himself out of options near the blue line when the puck should have been taken out wide after the zone entry. He calls out the opponent for not doing anything defensively, and that is often the argument with incidental contact with the AI and skill zone claims. However, people need to take accountability on offense as well.
You didn't do anything defensively there, bro. You let your goddamn computers do everything.
The AI isn't doing much at all without performing defensive actions against the puck carrier, but they are playing positionally, so the offensive mistake may not be the top praise for the defensive opponent, but it doesn't mean the offensive player shouldn't be responsible for their own play as well. Both teams' skills on offense are up against the same conditions.
I don't know how EA produces a game like this where people actually don't have to play D.
He mentions, "I don't know how EA produces a game where people don't have to play D," as a nod toward skill zoning, etc. But he is saying that right after his opponent is manually playing him 1v1 on the first attempted zone entry using defensive skill stick to keep him to the outside and forces him to curl around and switch sides in the neutral zone, only to have it happen again with good containing manual defense with the defensive skill stick again on the zone entry on the opposite side. This leads to not having many options and forcing a pass that he says went to the wrong player and was the game's fault. It is possible he wanted the far defender, but he is at a 45-degree angle difference on the controller, so he may have just missed the angle on his side. We take a lot of feedback on passing seriously and test it often. There are definitely bugs, but we have logged that we want to fix But a situation like this, where the pass directions are so different, feels like it may have been unintended, but it is still user error. And he ends up mentioning it again a little bit later on that he can't pass on servers after having left stick error again on a pass that goes out of the zone.
Oh, and your goalie makes a goddamn save like that, dude.
This is a good save by the goalie, and an overcommit by the weak side AI defense, something we are still looking at improving. But once again, it isn't a reactive save to the puck. It is more about the read on the pass and just getting over to take away the net. The goalie isn't overcommitting to the original passer, and it is still thinking a high chance of a pass as the original puck carrier's shot angle isn't great. Since it was saucered, it doesn't look like this was a hard-powered pass, which could have helped beating the goalie here. The goalie once again just preemptively slides over to take away the lower half of the net, so the shot just hits them, and there isn't enough room or leverage to get it up and over, so it would have to beat the goalie there. Best bet is a harder full-powered pass that would get over earlier, so would be quicker and give more distance than the puck carrier receives it to get the shot up to possibly. People also like to say that goalies don't make a difference, but their reaction time and speed, etc., all come into account in plays like this, so the weaker the goalie, the later they react and arrive most likely. And for people considering options, since the goalie is also selling the farm coming over in cases like this, these chances are sometimes opportunities to cut in on the pass reception and tuck the puck back against the grain on the goalie if there is room in the middle. These types of passes will be intercepted all day and was a good read by him. It is a good example where the biggest threat is the pass and not the current puck carrier. So this is the right play to defend until the puck carrier becomes a bigger threat and you may need to step up. Another big save by the goalie on this rush. If the original puck carrier doesn't go to their backhand so soon and for so long, the goalie probably stays concerned about the shot on net and isn't mostly reading pass. And if that was done, it may slow down the reaction time to react to the pass and limit the goalie from getting over in time. In this case, it is the difference of a frame and was actually decent positioning by the defender to take away the early pass to the wheelhouse one-timer, as the leverage on a tap-in closer to the net had the player been left-handed would have probably been enough difference to score, but on the wheelhouse side, if they don't let that go further to their backhand, they lose a few feet of leverage on the goalie's lateral movement. So it is important to always be aware of handedness of your own players and your opponents on both offense and defense. It really comes down to the goalie skill and being able to read the pass better when the puck carrier is less of a threat to score themselves, though, and these are bang-bang plays and outcomes.
How the is his goalie making saves on everything, man?
This is a call-out against the stick colliding with the defender's stick/skate when he turns into them. There are different opinions in the community about this, but ultimately, we feel that it is important to make defensive positioning matter.
Incidental contact is beyond bad in these games, man.
If he walks through with clean possession here, the same as if that defender had not been there, then the skill and balance of finding open space and defenders taking away space goes away. If he has to go behind the net or curl towards the corner to keep control of the puck in this case, the defense has positionally done their job, and that won't be needed if you can just skate through the opponent occupying the space you want to take with clean control.
Oh my God. My incidental contact doesn't work, bro. My incidental contact doesn't work, but his incidental contact works every time, and my one-timers don't work, but his one-timers work, dude. Yeah, this is a great game, man. This is so much fun to play in, because my one-timers don't work, but your one-timers...
He talks about the game playing different for his opponent than him. This is a very common for a lot of people. In our user experience surveys, we always see opponent AI rated higher than teammate AI, as there is just an inherent bias there that grows when things aren't going your way. And this is the same for a lot of mechanics in the game. This can't be looked at with a small sample size anyways, but especially if you aren't considering all the details, that it can seem random and it is easy to form bias. But if you are considering all those pieces, your success level goes up a lot on both sides of the puck because you know more how to maximize your potential and limit it for your opponent. Crossbody one-timers aren't as powerful and accurate, especially when fading away from the net and trying to aim further to the blade's side. If you get an angle where you are shooting through the puck crossbody, it can be better. You can try and get the quicker shot on net, but sometimes it will be better to receive the pass and take a snapshot after reception that is more accurate and may still beat the goalie even though they've had more time to get over, because they still have to then make a reaction save on a better placed shot. This is another rush and zone entry. He cuts to the middle on his forehand and keeps the puck carrier as a threat. Then he makes the pass against the grain to another player that can drive in on their forehand that gets the D to commit to them. The defense takes away the passing lane with a dive, but if there was a slight angle change on that pass, it would have been a high chance to score because the goalie wouldn't be as ready for the pass, having to worry about the original puck carrier as a shooter still. He then goes on to attempt some forced one-timers that get broken up and calls his opponent bad, but these are all expected outcomes regardless of the player being user or AI controlled, and is ultimately just frustration and easier for someone outside the game to see than the one that they can't get a shot to go on. Well guys, that's gonna do it for a game one. I do have another game, but this video took about 7 hours to make. I want to thank Ben again for going into such detail about the game. It's really, opened up my kind of thought process on some of the things that I normally complain about as well. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I really hope this video kind of sparks some talk, as again, this is probably one of the first times we've seen such in-depth detail of a review of a top player at this game by a developer. So again, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, comment on what you guys think in the comment section down below, and if you did enjoy the content, I make daily HUT videos and MLB as well, so please subscribe if you would enjoy that content as well. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.